Hello everyone, and welcome to Katawa Shoujo. Shoujo? It doesn't really matter. Now, the first thing we were going to do is we're going to have to disable adult content. Do I like disabling adult content? No. I like looking at boobies, but the truth is, YouTube doesn't like other people looking at boobies, and I'd like you all to be able to enjoy this video or video series. I'm not sure how long it'll go. Maybe 2 episodes probably. Video series whenever you'd like, because love shouldn't die, and neither should this video. So this is a very static, I guess, would be the word that I'd use for this. Oh wow, interesting. My mouse cursor isn't where it says it is. Well, if it's going to lie to us, guess what? We're not going to capture the mouse cursor then. Okay. Oh god, now the mouse is flickering. If I may, just really quickly. There we go. Problem solved. A light breeze causes the naked branches overhead to rattle, like wooden wind chimes. This is a popular retreat for couples in the summer. The deciduous trees provide a beautiful green canopy, far out of sight of teachers and fellow students. But now in late winter, it feels like I'm standing under a pile of kindling. I breathe into my cupped hands and rub them together furiously to prevent them from numbing in this cold. Just how long am I supposed to wait out here anyway? I'm sure the note said 4 p.m. on the dot. Oh yes, the note slipped between the pages of my math book while I wasn't looking. As far as cliches go, I'm more of a fan of the letter in the locker, but at least this one shows a little bit of initiative. As I ponder the meaning of the note, snow gradually thickens. The snowflakes silently falling from the white painted sky are the only sign of time from this passing in this stagnant world. Descent upon the frozen forest makes it seem like time is slow to a crawl. The rustling of dry snow underfoot startles me. Interpreting the quiet mood, someone is approaching me from behind. Hi. Hisao? You came? A hesitating, barely audible question. However, I recognize the owner of this dainty voice instantly. I feel my heart skip a beat. It's a voice I've listened to hundreds of times, but never as more than an eavesdropper to a conversation. I turn to face this voice, the voice of my dreams, and my heart begins to race. Hey, that's us. Iwanako? I got a note here telling me to wait here. It was yours? Damn it, I spent all afternoon trying to come up with a good line. That was the result. Pathetic. Yes, I asked a friend to give you that note, so I'm glad you got it. A shy, joyous smile that makes me so tense I couldn't even move a muscle if I tried. My heart is pounding now, as if it were trying to burst from my chest and claim this girl for itself. So, here we are, out in the cold. Once again, the wind stirs up the branches, and the cacophonous noise is music to my ears. Iwanako flinches ever so softly against the gust of wind. It passes. She rights herself as if supported by some new confidence. Her eyes lock with mine. She lazily twirls her dark hair around a finger. All the while, the anxious beating of my heart grows louder. My throat is tight. I doubt I could even force a word out if I tried. You see, I wanted to know if you'd go out with me. I stand there motionless save for my pounding heart. I want to say something in reply, but my vocal cords, they feel like they've been stretched beyond the breaking point. Hisao? I tried to reach up to massage my throat, but only sent spikes of blinding pain along my arms. Hisao? My whole body freezes save for my eyes, which shoot open in terror. Hisao! The beating in my chest suddenly stops and I go weak at the knees. The world around me, the canopy of bare branches, the dull winter sky, Iwanako running towards me, all these fade to black. These last things I remember before slipping away are the branches of Iwanako screaming for help, and incessant clatter of the branches above. That's right, this little video game was made by 4chan, a place I don't go to for reasons, but I have to say this is a pretty good little piece of work. I've played it in the past, and you know what, I liked it. I only went through it like twice. I think there are 6 full routes. And you know what? I had a viewer say, "Hey, I want you to play Katawa Shoujo." Shoujo. It doesn't matter. And I was like, you know what? I can do that for you. I thought I'd do it now, before Valentine's Day. We're also going to play another very popular visual novel after this. So we're really going to be in the swing of it. This one won't take too long. But this story of love begins with heartbreak. Literally and metaphorically. It's been 4 months since my heart attack. And that whole time I can probably count the times I've left this hospital room unsupervised on one hand. 4 months is a pretty long time when you're left alone with your thoughts, so I've had plenty of times to come to terms with my situations. Arrhythmia, an unsteady heartbeat, a strange world, a foreign, alien one that you don't need to be in the same, that you don't want to be in the same room with. A rare condition, it causes the heart to erratically and occasionally beat way too fast. It can be fatal. I gotta say, the whole arrhythmia angle is actually a really good metaphor for love. Apparently, I've had it for a long time. They said it was a miracle that I was able to go on so long without anything happening. Is that really a miracle? I guess I was supposed to make me feel better, more appreciative of my life. It really didn't do anything to cheer me up. My parents, I think, were hit harder by the news than I was. They practically had 2 hemorrhages apiece. I had a full day to already a full day to digest everything. To them, it was all fresh. They were willing to sell our house in order to pay for a cure. Of course, there isn't a cure. Because of the late discovery of this condition, I've had to stay at the hospital to recuperate from treatments. When I was first admitted, it felt as if I was missed. For about a week, my room in the ward was full of flowers, balloons, and cards. But the visitors soon dwindled, and all the get-well gifts trickling down to nothing shortly after. I realized that the only reason I'd gotten so many cards and flowers was because they were sending me their sympathy had turned into a class project. Maybe some people were genuinely concerned, but I doubt it. Even in the beginning, I barely had any visitors. By the end of the first month, only my parents came by on a regular basis. Iwanako was the last to stop visiting. After 6 weeks, I never saw her again. We never had that much to talk about when she visited anyways. We didn't touch the subject that was between us on that snowy day ever again. The hospital? It's not really a place I'd like to live in. The doctors and nurses feel so impersonal, faceless. I guess it's because they're in a hurry and they have a million other patients waiting for them, but it makes me feel uncomfortable. For the first month or so, I asked the head cardiologist every time I saw him for a rough estimate of when I'd be able to leave. He never answered anything in a straightforward way, but told me to wait and see if the treatment and surgeries worked. So I idly observed the scar that the surgeries left and had left on my chest slowly change its appearance over time, thinking of it as an omen. I still ask the head cardiologist about leaving, but my expectations are low enough now that I'm not disappointed anymore when I don't get a reply. The way he shuffles around the answer shows that there's at least some hope. At some point I stopped watching TV. I don't know why, I just did. Maybe it was the wrong kind of escapism for my situation. I started reading instead. There was a small library at the hospital, although it was more like a storeroom for books. I began working my way through it, one small stack at a time. Consuming them, I would go back for more. I found that I liked reading. I think I became a bit addicted. I started feeling naked without a book in my hands, but I loved the stories. That was what my life was like. The days became increasingly hard to distinguish from each other, differing only by the book I was reading and the weather outside. It felt like the time blurred into some kind of gooey mass that I was trapped inside of, instead of moving within. A week could go by without me really noticing it. Sometimes I'd pause in realization that I didn't know what day of the week it was. But other times all the things surrounding me would painfully crash into my consciousness through the barrier of nonchalance I had set up for myself. The pages of my book would start to feel sharp and burning hot, and the heaviness in my chest would become so hard to bear that I had to put the book aside and just lay down for a while, looking at the ceiling as if I was going to cry. But that happened only rarely, and I couldn't even cry. Today the doctor comes in and gives me a smile. He seems excited, but not very. It's like he's trying to make an effort to be happy on my behalf. My parents are here. It's been a few days since I've last seen them. Both of them are even sort of dressed up. Is this supposed to be some sort of special occasion? It's not a party. There's the ritual the head cardiologist has. He takes his time sorting his papers, then setting them aside as if to make a point of the pointlessness of what he just did. Then he casually sits down on the edge of the bed next to mine. He looks me in the eyes for a moment, and he just kisses. Hello, Hisao. How are you today? I don't answer him, but I smile back a little. Back at him. I believe that you can go home. Your heart is strong now, and with some precautions you should be fine. You have all your medications sorted out. I'll give your father the prescription. The doctor hands a sheet of paper to my dad, whose expression turns wooden as he reads it quickly. So many. I don't know what that voice is, but it's okay. I take it from his hand and take a look for myself, feeling numb. How am I supposed to react to this? The absurdly long list of medications staring back at me seems insurmountable. They all blend together in a sea of letters. This is insane. Side effects, adverse effects, contraindications, and dosages are listed line after line after line with cold precision. I try to read them, but it's so futile. I can't understand any of it. Attempting to only makes me feel sicker. All of this for the rest of my life? Every day? I'm afraid this is the best we can do at this point. However, new medications are always being developed, so I wouldn't be surprised to see that list fade over the years. Years? What kind of confidence booster is that? I'd have felt better if he hadn't said anything at all. Also, I've spoken with your parents, and we believe that it would be best if you don't return to your old school. What? Please, calm down, Hisao. Listen to what the doctor has to say. Calm down. The way he says it, it tells me he knew full well that I wouldn't like it. Am I going to be homeschooled? Whatever my concern shows, it's ignored. We all understand that your education is paramount. However, I don't think that's wise for you to be without supervision. At least not until we're sure that your medication is suitable. So I've spoken to your parents about a transfer. A school called Yamaku Academy that specializes in dealing with disabled students. Disabled? What? Am I? As a 24-hour nursing staff, and it's only a few minutes from a highly regarded general hospital. The majority of students live on campus. Think about it as a boarding school of sorts. It's designed to give students a degree of independence while keeping help nearby. Independence? It's a school for disabled kids. Don't try to disguise that fact. If it was really that free, there wouldn't be a 24-hour nursing staff, and you wouldn't make a hospital being nearby a selling point. Of course, that's only if you want to go, but your mother and I aren't able to homeschool you. We went out there and had a look a couple weeks back. I think you'd like it. It looks like I really don't have a choice. Compared to the other hard problems, people with your condition usually tend to live long lives. You'll need a job one day, and this is a good opportunity for your education. This isn't an opportunity. Don't call it an opportunity. Don't call it a goddamned opportunity. Well, you should be excited at the chance to go back to school. I remember you wanted to return to school, and while it's not the same one, a special school, that's an insult. That is what I want to say. It's a step down. It's not what you think. All of the students there are pretty active in their own sort of way. It's geared towards students that can still get around and learn, but just need a little help in one way or another. Your father's right, and many of the graduates of the school have gone on to do amazing things. A person doesn't have to be held back by their disability. One of my colleagues in another hospital is a graduate. I don't care. A person doesn't have to be held back by their disability. That's what a disability is. I really hate that something so important was decided for me, but what can I do about it? A normal life is out of the question now. It's funny. I had always thought my life was actually kind of boring, but now I miss it. I want to protest. I want to blame the lack of this lack of reaction on shock or fatigue. I could easily yell out something now. Something about how I can go back to school anyway, but no. I don't say anything. That's the fact that I now know is futile. I look around this room, feeling very tired of all of this. The hospital, my doctors, my condition, everything. I don't see anything that would make me feel different. There really isn't a choice. I know this, but the thought of going to a disabled school? What are those even like? As much as I try to put a positive spin on this, it's very difficult. But let me try. A clean slate isn't a bad thing. That is all I can think of to get me through this. At least I still have something, even if it's a special school, it's something. It's a fresh start, and my life isn't over. It would be a mistake to just resign myself to thinking that. At the very least, I'll try to see what my new life will look like. And that's our opening. And that's us. We're a very good-looking young man. We're a very good-looking young animu man. With our little arrhythmia. The gate looked far too pompous for what it was. In fact, gates in general seem to do that, but this one especially so. Red bricks, black wrought iron, gray plaster assembled into a hole? That didn't feel welcoming at all. I wondered if it looked like a gate for a school should look like, but couldn't really decide. Probably no. Of course, I didn't want to get stuck on thinking about a gate for too long, so I entered through it with a brisk pace that felt surprisingly good. Moving forward, it feels good. So I walked towards the main building of Yamaku Academy. That's going to be hard to figure out. With this brisk pace, I'm alone, as my parents are taking my stuff to the dorms, and there's supposed to be someone waiting for me. The grounds are incredibly lush, filled with green. It doesn't feel like the kind of grounds a school would have, more like a park, with a clean walkway going past the trees, and a small smell of fresh-cut grass, and all the other park-like things. Words like clean and hygienic pop into my mind. It makes me shudder. I shake them off, stay open-minded. It's your new life. You have to take it as it comes. That's what I tell myself. A few big buildings loom behind the leafy canopies, too big and too many for just a school. Everything seems off. It's different from what I thought I knew about schools. It's an uncanny valley. Even though I was told this is my new school, in the back of my mind, it doesn't feel like one. I wonder if the feeling is real or if it's caused by my expectation of a school for the disabled. Speaking of that, I don't see anyone else here. It's kind of eerie, like I'm in Silent Hill. It makes me wish there was somebody here, so I could anchor myself to something tangible instead of having this feeling that I stepped into the Twilight Zone. The trees hum with the wind, and the green hues flashing all around me catch my attention. It makes me think about hospitals again. How they say that the operating rooms are painted green because green is a common color. So why am I feeling so anxious despite all this greenery? Only after I stand in front of the haughty main building, I surprise myself, realizing why the gate bothered me. It was the last chance I had to turn back, even if I had no life I could return to. But still, after entering, there was no way I could go back anymore. Feeling nervous with this realization in my head, I opened the front door. A tall man with bad posture notices me as I enter. We're the only people in the lobby, so it's only logical. You must be Niki Nakai. So you are. Excellent. I'm your homeroom teacher and science teacher. My name is Muto. Welcome. We exchange a handshake that is neither firm nor sloppy, and he looks at his watch. The head nurse asks for a brief check-in visit, but there's no time for that now. Oh, I can reverse things too. Oh, should I go later? Yes, afternoon is probably fine. We should probably get going and introduce you to the rest of the class. They're waiting already. Waiting for me? I don't really like being the center of attention, but I guess it's inevitable in a situation like this. Somehow not knowing what is waiting for me makes me feel really nervous. Thinking of this, I almost miss what the teacher is saying. Do you want to introduce yourself to the class? Sure, why not? Yeah, of course. Yeah, sure. I mean, isn't that normal? Of course, but not everyone likes to be the center of attention. I'm probably one of those people, but I guess I should be the one to give the first impression of myself. Right, but it's no problem. Let's go then. My heart is pounding in my chest, and it keeps me thinking about the condition as I follow my teacher up the stairs. Third door down the third floor corridor is marked as the classroom for 3-3. Muto opens the door and enters. Good morning, everyone. Sorry I'm late again. I hesitate for a split second at the door, freezing on the spot. Get a grip. This is a big step, I know that, but there isn't any point to worrying about it now worrying so much about it. At least, not this soon. I follow the teacher into the classroom and look around, partially so I won't have to meet the curious gazes of my new classmates. Oh, I see a few main character chans in this one. Actually, I only see one, but I just may not remember them. It's pretty spacious. The ceiling is unusually high. I like that this guy, like, you can't see it, but the man with, like, the bandage over his ear, he's wearing a hat. I don't know why. That just really gets me going. The ceiling is unusually high, and there's lots of space left over around in between the desks. An entire wall taken up by blackboards and high, old-fashioned windows only make it seem larger. The students' desks are just standard wood desks with a shelf underneath for books and such, and wooden chairs with metal frames, simple and efficient. I stop walking in front of the classroom and face the other students. They all look normal, like students from any other school. But then why would they be here? They're probably like me and have something wrong with them, only it's not immediately obvious. Oh, I see another main character Chan. Then I notice that one of these girls seems to be missing a thumb on her right hand. It's a little jarring. Can you find out who's missing the thumb? I can't, because I don't pay that much attention. Despite the natural tendency to listen to someone when someone's talking to you, I tune out the teacher's speech halfway through while he introduces me to the class. I notice a flash of dark hair and see that someone is looking at me, a girl with really long, straight hair that is pretty eye-catching. As she sees me looking back at her, she covers her face with her hands as if it will make her invisible. There's one boy with a cane leaning against the lockers at the rear of class. It's weird seeing someone so young with a cane. Another girl seems to be making weird hand motions. Sign language? She peers at me over the rims of her glasses, then goes back to whatever she's doing. She's kind of cute. So's the cheery girl with pink hair next to her. She's really hard to miss. Don't know how I didn't notice her the moment I walked in. Please welcome our newest classmate. Hey everybody, I'm Critical. I'm just joshing you guys. He claps his hands, and so does everyone else, except one girl in the first row who has only one hand. I cringe a little, but hide it by bowing in thanks for this applause I did not deserve. A collective silence tells me I should open my mouth now. So I'm Hisao Nikai? And after that, my hobbies are reading and soccer. I hope to get along with everyone even though I'm a new student. And after that, I'm being so boring. This is exactly like every self-introduction ever. I should say something more exciting. Really grab them by the gonads and just thrill them. I end up saying nothing. and the teacher picks up from there. Everyone seems to be satisfied, even with what little I said. Though a few girls are whispering to each other, throwing glances at me. It could have gone worse. I listen to the teacher as he drones about getting along while letting my gaze sweep across the classroom. Everyone seems to be listening to him intently, and when he's done, they clap their hands again, which feels like a weird thing to do. The first row girl claps on this round with her one hand against her other wrist that ends in a bandaged stump. I feel like, unless it was recent, would it still be bandaged? I feel like it kind of like, after a while it heals up. Nah, who knows. It makes me feel a little bad. We're going to be doing some group work today, so that'll give you a chance to talk with everyone. Is that okay with you? Yeah, it's fine with me. That's good. You can work with Hakamichi. She is the class representative. She can explain anything you might want to know, and who else would be able to do that better than her, right? How could I know? The teacher passes out the day's assignments and announces that we will be working in groups of 3. It hits me I don't know who Hakamichi is. Slow. The teacher seems to catch my helpless expression. Oh right, Hakamichi is right there. Shizune Hakamichi. As he calls out her name, the cute, bubbly looking girl with bright pink hair and golden eyes. Wait, gold eyes. That's not normal. Waves her hand at me. I take a seat next to her by the window. Hey, I guess you're Hakamichi? It's nice to meet you? What? I'm caught off guard by her laughter. It's nice to meet you too, but I'm not Hakamichi. I'm Misha. This is Hakamichi. Shi-chan. Giggling, Misha points to the girl next to her. This right here is, of course, Hakamichi. She was the second girl that I dated on my second playthrough. And she was nice. A lot of family drama, but she was nice. I saw using giggling, Misha points to the girl next to her, the one I saw using sign language before. It looks like she's been staring at me this whole time. She nods once nonchalantly to show that she acknowledges my presence, but only barely. like him kudere, yeah. She has short yet carefully, neatly brushed hair. A pair of oval-shaped glasses balanced on the tip of her dainty nose, and dark blue eyes that seem to alternate every few seconds between analytical and slightly bored. It's nice to meet you. She immediately looks at Misha, who smiles and makes a few quick gestures with her hands. Oh. I accidentally scrolled back. Hakamichi nods and makes a few gestures of her own. I start to wonder if the teacher was messing with me by saying things like, you'll be able to talk to people, and who better to explain things to you. I can see you're a little confused, right? But I understand why you would think I was Shi-chan. Shi-chan is deaf, so I'm the person who translates things back and forth for her. I'm like an interpreter. She says it's nice to meet you too. You're the new student, aren't you? Well, Shi-chan, of course he is. If he wasn't, he wouldn't have been standing up there for no reason, right? She seems like a very interesting person. He seems like a very interesting person, doesn't he? We know there was going to be a new student, but we didn't know you would be here today. So soon, He-chan, right? He-chan. Yup, it fits, doesn't it? Did I say it out loud? It's just a surprise. I've never liked that nickname. I don't really see how. It fits! You look just like I imagined. Yeah, you look just like a He-chan. I wonder why everyone seems to think so. Hakamichi taps her fingers on the desk to get Misha's attention. They gesture back and forth to each other excitedly, their hands a blur. Misha seems a little overwhelmed. Sorry about that. Shi-chan wants to know that she's the class rep, so if there's anything you need to know, you can feel free to ask her. Do you like the school so far? We can show you around a little if you want, if you haven't had time to walk around the school and familiarize yourself with it. Misha stumbles with a hard word for a little bit, making it stick out in her otherwise fluid translation. Thanks! That would be pretty helpful. Yeah, I just kinda came straight to class today. That's no good. You should always try to learn as much as you can about where you're going before you go there, not just with school either. Always, even if it's a trip to the convenience store. Really, Shi-chan? Learn about where you're going. I guess I didn't bother to do that, or just didn't care enough to do so. I didn't look forward to this, even if I committed myself to go along with it, half-assedly, but anyways. I don't say anything, and Misha signs something that ends with a shrug. What was that? It seems like it was about me. I feel like slumping over in my seat. Both of them are smiling, but that shrug hit me unexpectedly deeply. You look down. Are you okay? Oh, don't take it the wrong way, please. I hate it when people are afraid to ask questions. That's how people learn new things, by asking. Asking for help is perfectly normal, as much as needing help. Stop looking like you failed a test. Alright. And another thing. You don't have to call me Shi-chan. You don't have to call Shi-chan something so formal like Hakamichi or class rep all the time. Just call her Shi-chan. Oh, that blush. Okay, maybe that's too casual. Maybe Shizune would be more appropriate. Yup, Shizune is fine. Okay, that would be a lot easier for me. I feel a lot more at ease, especially both of them so friendly, so I feel like an idiot for being so apprehensive earlier. Especially about Shizune, who I assumed would be all business. Well, she still seems like that, just less so, I guess. Huh? Oh, right, we haven't even touched the assignment. We should start work now, or Shi-chan will get mad. The assignment is also kind of long, so we should start now if we want to finish it before the end of class? That too. Shizune glares at the two of us impatiently. I don't need to know sign language to understand that. Okay, I get the message. After class we can take a walk around the school grounds together. That's a nice day, okay? The assignment is actually very challenging to get through, combining aspects of both being difficult and unnecessarily long. Still, we finished it a few minutes earlier than anyone else in class. Despite our late start, Shizune and Misha are really capable. They're quite different, though. The class rep is as calm and professional as she looks, while Misha is a lot more playful and girlish. Not to mention, a little more easily distracted. To be honest, the two of them did most of the work. I feel kind of guilty about that. The clock tower bells ring, signaling the end of the period. Time for lunch. Without knowing what else to do, I follow Misha, who is beckoning me into the hallway and down the stairs. We descended even below the lobby, where I met Muto, down to the bottom floor. Just like everything in the school, the cafeteria seems too spacious and oddly modern in contrast to the classic exterior. Its big windows open to the courtyard towards the main gate. It's the cafeteria! Her enthusiastic statement of the obvious makes people around us stare, but Misha doesn't seem to care, so we proceed to the line. There is a rather long list of menu options, which seems great until I realize that many of them are to accommodate students who need special diets. How nice, it almost feels like I'm back at the hospital, eating portions measured with scientific precision to meet the needs of patients. Delightful. I pick something at random and follow Shizune to a table, sitting opposite of her. As I nibbled indifferently at the food I'd rather not eat, Misha pokes me in the side to get my attention and points to Shizune. I don't understand science, so the point escapes me. Maybe the looking at a person who talks to you is proper and polite? Do you want to know something? What? About anything. We're guides, so you should ask us if there is something. I wonder. Ask about the library. Oh yeah, is there a library in the school? Lately I've gotten into reading a lot, so I'd like to check it out. Misha kind of gives the kind of frown that makes it clear she doesn't consider reading a healthy hobby, but then picks up her smile again. There is. It's in the second floor. We can show you sometime. Thanks. I return to my food while the girls talk between themselves. And Misha and Shizune sign back and forth, very animatedly, throwing sideways glances at me. But Misha refrains from translating. Maybe they were talking about secret girl stuff or something? I quickly notice the conversation is not enough to fill a silence. Alright, let's see here. Where am I? Guys, this is probably going to end up being a little bit longer than I thought it would be, but that's okay. Stay safe, have fun, and realize, when you have arrhythmia, heartbreak can both be real and metaphorical. But in a way, they're both real. They both matter to you. And the heart needs to be strong, even in the darkest of times. Also, stay safe and have fun. Bye! One of those things is more important than the other.